Feeling bloated? Whether you're postpartum or not, this quick, full-body workout will help alleviate your belly bloat. All moves are postpartum and C-section safe too. All you need is a mat. Let's get started. Today's workout is a 10-minute postpartum belly bloat workout. We're going to focus on moves that will really help release pressure, improve digestion and mobility in the core and the spine, and then also strengthen our core. We're going to start on our backs with a little twist and oblique exercise. So take your arms wide, palms up, bring your knees over your hips. We're going to slowly bring the knees, dropping them to the front of the room as low as you can go without that opposite shoulder lifting. Bring them right back up over the center, knees over hips. Let's go to the back. So opposite shoulder stays down. Nice and slow, rotate through the upper spine, the obliques, but we're keeping, again, those shoulder blades grounded, so we're not taking that work too much into the low back. It stays in the obliques. Great for back mobility. Belly button is pulled in towards spine. If you're looking for how to engage your core, check out my short video for that, but assuming you know how to do that, we're gonna move throughout all these exercises. Nice and slow and controlled. Again, as far as you can go without that opposite shoulder lifting. And we're gonna move on now to our next exercise. It's a dead bug. So you're gonna bring your knees up over your hips, arms straight to the ceiling. We're gonna take the front leg, back arm out, and then bring it back up. So I'm starting a little higher, making sure my lower back is pressing toward the mat and my belly button is pulled in toward the spine. Opposite arm and leg move. So my leg is going to 45 and my arm is going almost all the way over my shoulder. And if you feel comfortable, you can get that lower back pressing down. You can move a little bit lower to the ground now. So this one's got some coordination involved. So don't worry if you're not quite getting it, no big deal. But just focus on that core engagement. Again, lower back pressing down. Really the legs are doing more than the arms, but we wanna make sure even as we move the arms, we're not over expanding the rib cage. We wanna keep that core control and rest. We're gonna keep moving now to a cat-cow. So carefully roll over onto hands and knees. Neutral spine, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're gonna look up, let the belly just hang and release. Tuck the chin, round the spine. So we're releasing the core here, then we're engaging the core here. This one's really good for mobility. You can even play around, swaying the hips side to side. Whatever feels good to you here. This one's more fluid. It's less about being perfect, more about just what feels good for your spine. All right, bird dogs now. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're gonna take the front arm and the back leg, lift the leg to hip level, arm to shoulder level. Nice and slow. Since we are doing a belly bloat workout today, we're not gonna focus too much on moving quickly. We're gonna focus on control so we can really release that tension in the core and in the back of the body, while also strengthening. So as you lift, we're pulling the belly button in toward the spine, but I don't want you to grip too much. Don't tighten through your ribs. Keep that belly pulled in like you've got Spanx on, like you've got a corset on, and that's exactly what your transverse abdominals are. Your deep core muscles are like a corset, and they connect to your pelvic floor. So we want to engage both of those properly. And if you don't know how to do, I suggest doing my postpartum ab program and watching that short video for tips. All right, moving on to an inchworm crawl. So we're gonna come to the back of the mat, standing up. We're gonna take the feet just a little wider than the hips, hinge forward, crawl into a plank, drop your knees, crawl back, feet down, stand all the way up. Let's do that again. So we're hinging, going through a squat, crawling down, dropping the knees, core is tight here, shoulders over wrists, crawling back, putting the heels down, stand all the way up, engage that core at the top. So we want to move through that squat. That's going to help us create mobility in the hips, and hip mobility is so important for just reducing pressure in the pelvic floor and the core, which oftentimes can lead to that pooch, lead to bloating or that bloated feeling. Shoulders down or shoulders over wrists are really important when we go down, and that's going to keep that pressure in the core. Release. All right, we're gonna move on to a similar movement that we just did, a bear plank. So it's a plank with your knees at 90 degrees under your hips. We're gonna tuck the toes, we're gonna lift, and then we're gonna push back, down dog, tap the opposite toe. So bear plank, you can keep the knees down or up, opposite arm, reach back, tap the toe. So knees staying off the floor like that is a little harder, but if you can, do it and keep that core engaged, shoulders over wrists, push back, reach for that toe. If it's too intense to reach for the toe, just push back into the hips, just push back into that downward dog. But if you can get that little twist in that backwards reach, creates a little more space in the obliques, opening up the core in the back. And you can start to move a little quicker if you feel good here. Love that one, it's challenging too. Staying with that bear plank motion, we're gonna come to the back of the mat. We're gonna do a bear crawl. Everybody knows this one, or has at least heard of it. We're gonna take those shoulders over wrists, tuck the toes, lift the knees. We're gonna do opposite arm and foot crawling forward. Let's do 4 forward, 4 back. How about that? For the length of your mat. So you wanna keep those shoulders over your wrists here. A tendency is shifting backwards when we feel that pressure. I want you to try to keep that pressure on, moving quietly, really small, and then really low to the ground with those knees is gonna keep that pressure in the core. Now this one's challenging, so if you need to, put the knees down for a few reps. Baby crawl. We all know what that looks like, right? Maybe you're not there yet, but my daughter started crawling about a month ago, so time to baby-proof everything now. And rest. We're gonna move on now to a standing position for a squat with a knee lift and a twist. So hands up, thumbs down. We're gonna squat, take that right knee up, twist towards it, put it down, left knee up and twist. So your hands are by your head, keeping your chest up, shoulders back and down. You're lifting that knee up about 90 degrees or a little bit higher if flexibility allows. And then you're turning your chest, but keeping your hips square to the front of the room. So that's gonna work those obliques. Again, your hips, of course, your legs. And you can go as low as you'd like in that squat. I just want you to make sure your weight is in your heels, your chest stays up as you hinge forward. And again, your core stays tight. So when you come up, you're really effectively engaging that core, feeling that rotation. Also great for spinal mobility as we do that twist with the hands up. It's challenging. Rest here. All right, we're moving on. One of our most challenging movements. It's gonna incorporate some stability as well. Lateral lunge with a rotation. So we're gonna start stepping out to the right, left hand down, right hand up, come back in, over to the other side. So step out wide, reach for that opposite toe, other arm up, step in. And now you can do it at the same time if you're comfortable with that movement. But if not, just step back, sit into it, and then reach and rotate. We really wanna get deep into those hips, feel that stretch through the inner thigh. And then if you can, reach all the way to the floor. If flexibility does not allow, reach for your knee. Challenging because we're incorporating stability and we're doing all those muscles in the legs, getting the spine involved, but it feels so good to release that tension there. Rest. All right, we're gonna move on to now a prisoner lunge, backwards lunge with a little knee lift. So take your front foot back, lift the knee, set it down, other side. Step back, lift the knee, down. So we're dropping the knees to 90 degrees and then we're pulling belly button to spine, lift that knee 90 degrees or a little higher if you can, and then gently set it down. I want you to try to move really quietly, like your baby's asleep next to you. You don't want to wake him or her up. My baby would never be sleeping in this environment, but if they're little, maybe they would. If they're under 2 or 3 months, maybe they would. And then again, chest stays lifted. The point of keeping the arms in that prisoner position is it adds some added intensity and balance challenge. So if that's too much, you can put them on your hips. Just a couple more here. And rest. We are finished. So there you have it, your 10-minute belly bloat and mobility workout for postpartum. And even if you haven't had a baby, we all have days where we're just feeling meh, bloated. So I hope that helps. Be sure to check out my other postpartum ab videos if you're working on your core strength, healing your diastasis recti, or just trying to feel at home in your body again. I have a whole playlist under my channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what you would like to see next time. I'll see you back here for our next workout.